he's in way over his head, and everybody he brought with him, they're all in way over their head.
Is Nick Sirianni in over his head as the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles?
There's no question. I actually feel bad for him in that calling offensive plays in the NFL is probably the hardest job in sports. You know, managing a baseball team for 3.5 hours is hard, but it's not as much pressure because you can do it at your own pace. And he's never done that. And to ask him to do that for the first time here with this lineup, with a quarterback who doesn't know how to quarterback and an offensive coordinator who's never been an offensive coordinator, no real experience on your staff at any position except offensive line, it's just unfair. What they did to him is unfair because I think he's a smart guy and I think he's a good man. And I believe that he has the capacity to call plays in the NFL and be a head coach at some point. But I don't think he has the capacity to do both. Neither did Andy Reid when he first got here. When Andy Reid first got here, he brought along with him Doug Peterson, who effectively was a coach at that point. He also had Deuce Staley. And I remember Andy Reid, when Donovan McNabb started playing, I want to say it was like maybe the 8th or 9th game of that rookie season in 1999 for Donovan. A play call would come in, and they only had like 12 for Donovan, right? So a play call would come in, and you would see Deuce moving guys around. Not Donovan, Deuce. So Andy had a coach on the field, 2 coaches when Doug Peterson started and Deuce Staley was playing. That said, Nick Sirianni is in so far over his head on every level. He's not prepared to develop a quarterback. He's never done that. He's not prepared to be on the East Coast coaching where every game's a playoff game in the eyes of the fans and the media. He's not prepared to call plays for an offense that he has to establish. If he could call plays for an offense that existed, an offense where his quarterback came with him, which is what Andy Reid had. Doug Peterson came with Andy Reid. Those were huge benefits for Andy Reid, who was also 39. But no, he's in way over his head, and everybody he brought with him, they're all in way over their head, including the offensive coordinator, Shane Steichen, and Brian Johnson, the quarterback's coach, who's never coached an NFL quarterback. So, yeah, I mean, if you have an established staff, you can elevate Shane Steichen and let him learn from the head coach calling the plays maybe. If you have an experienced staff, you can have Brian Johnson learn from the offensive coordinator who's coaching the quarterback. But they just don't have any experience anywhere, and it shows every week.